What's good, people of YouTube? Welcome to my channel. I'm Jindu, and would you look at that? We've made it to part 3, the final part. I promise you, definitely. I promised myself this is the last part of this journey into my world of real estate, how I got to it. And after this, we'll be continuing with general content that I am still yet to decide on, but we'll find out along the way. And before we get to it, I hope you remember to raise your tribal fist up high, smash the like button, gently tap subscribe, and let's get to it. So just to get everyone up to speed, which I shouldn't have to, because just go back, open a new tab, watch part 1, watch part 2, and then you'll come here, part 3, and you're as good as caught up. Yes, I know part 2 was a long one, and I can't promise because I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm pretty sure this will be a shorty. So, just catch up and let's go. But anyway, because I'm such a nice guy, part 2, we just left off. I realized that my entire strategy of going into real estate wasn't going to work, door knocking, because it's illegal here in Zimbabwe, so it won't work, can't do it. And to be completely honest, that was a major hit to my confidence, my motivation, my drive. I was at a point where I had no idea what to do anymore in real estate. And I was pretty close to throwing in the towel and realizing that maybe I came in a little bit over my head and wasn't exactly built for this, wasn't prepared for this. But as you can see, I'm still here, so something had to happen. You see, it wasn't so much the fact that door knocking was illegal that brought me to such a negative place in my thinking about real estate, but it was the fact that I was not only back at square one, which I'm completely fine with, but it was the fact that I'm back at the bottom of the mountain and I have no idea how to take the first correct step up the mountain. And I was starting to just get caught up with the mundane motions of day-to-day work that I knew that could keep me busy around the clock, but I knew deep down in me that what I'm doing right now isn't going to help me to get to where I want to in real estate. You see, being a real estate agent is sort of like being an entrepreneur, because in the most part, you dictate your own hours and you're setting and getting rewarded according to your own standards and measures and output. So that has the benefit of you being able to take this as far as you want to go, but also because no one is really invested or affected by what you're doing except you yourself. Sure, your boss might get annoyed that, okay, you haven't produced anything, but at the same time, because you haven't brought in anything, he's not paying you for anything. So his stake in your success is moderately lower, especially if there are other agents on the sideline who are doing much better. You can easily fall into the trap of stagnant action, which is, to continue my mountain analogy, because I love it so much, if you're doing productive, efficient actions, you're going up the mountain. No matter how hard it is, no matter how slow it is, you know what you're doing is taking you one step closer to the peak. And if you're doing negative actions, you're doing things that actively take you further away from your goal. And even though it might not seem like it, both these two things are beneficial to what you're doing. You see, if you're doing positive actions that are getting you up, you can notice that, you can tell what's going on, and you can double down on whatever you're doing. And if you're doing negative things, you can easily tell that, you know what I'm doing right now isn't getting me the results I want, but more importantly, it's negatively affecting you. So you can actually tell and notice that you're getting further away from your goal than when you started. The problem is, I wasn't doing any of those. I was doing something more akin to running around the mountain in a circle. I wasn't doing anything that was positively getting me closer to my goal, but because it also wasn't dragging me down and making me realize that I'm getting further away than when I started, this was probably the worst place to be. And so to put it in a more practical context in the world of real estate, let's compare what I believe a real estate agent should be doing to what I was actually doing after I realized that door knocking wasn't a possibility. For reference, in my last video, part 2 of the series, which you can catch somewhere there, I mentioned that a real estate agent has 3 foundational pillars in order to carry out the tasks that they need to. And these are, they need to get people to know them, they need to get people to trust them, and they need to get people to ultimately come to them whenever they want to do any real estate transactions. Once you get people to come to you, you usually have about 5 avenues in order to do a real estate transaction. You can buy property, you can sell property, you can rent out property. You can get clients who come to you in order to buy property, and you can get clients that come to you in order to rent property. No matter where you're doing real estate, in Zimbabwe, in America, in South Africa, wherever, ultimately you always have to do the same thing if you want to be successful, which are those 3 foundational pillars. After that, you can diversify into any field you want in order to do one, multiple, or all of those 5 other actions you can do once people come to you. In my specific case, door knocking was supposed to be my go-to strategy in order to accomplish those 3 pillars. I'd be able to go out there, get people to know me, hopefully get people to trust me, and ultimately, after a lot of repetition, get me to be at that point where I'm at the top of everyone's mind, that when they have any real estate transaction they want done, they come to me first, right? At that point, I'd also figured it would be a good idea to supplement what I was doing actively on the ground with some sort of digital presence. And as I had hinted to in my previous video, just go and watch it, it was between blog writing and YouTube. Because practically speaking, Google is still the #1 search engine out there, but YouTube is the second best. But I was not yet at a point where I was ready to put this handsome face on camera and speak and hear my voice 100,000 times whenever I was doing editing. So I decided to get down and start writing passively, because I am not exactly the best writer out there. Actually, let me fix that. I was not exactly the best writer out there, but now my writing is awesome. Go down below, click the link to my website, read my blog posts, because now they're actually something worth reading. If you want to go down memory lane where things are actually, can't even put it into words, just go to my first blogs and see the improvement, live the improvement. But we'll actually talk about my blog a little further down the line, because at this stage it was really just an afterthought. I knew getting my personal brand online was the best way to go, but also I was pretty much focused on, at least at the moment, double downing on actual face-to-face presence with potential clients. So pretty much at my peak at this point, I was pushing out 2 to 3 blog posts a week maximum. And I wasn't really comfortable with it, and it was just something I was forcing myself to do. And as you can tell, the fact that door knocking was made illegal didn't exactly help me transition well, considering my second best option was something I was doing undercover, not fully comfortable with, and really just doing passively at the moment to pass some time. But that didn't change the fact that at the office, there were so many things I could still keep my hands busy with, and I could still use to write in my report to make it seem like I'm being productive. In fact, I would go so far as to say what I was doing in the office, running around in circles, would take up more time than what I would have to do if I was out there actually doing proper field work, which pretty much just pushes the narrative that just because you're busy doesn't mean you're getting stuff done. You see, what I came to realize, that in the same way, being a real estate agent is similar to being an entrepreneur. You are also pretty much a ghost worker, which means you can just move around and help whoever needs to be helped, so long as it's in your capacity. So for me personally, I was going out, I was helping our head property inspector inspect some rental properties we had, making sure tenants are keeping things in order, reporting back to the landlord. I was also going out with my boss and my supervisor in order to help them with properties that they had gotten listings for. Not even my properties. As well as tagging along whenever they were doing private viewings for properties, showing them to clients and prospective. I just tagged along. I was pretty much the puppy of the company, just tagging along wherever I could be, if it could just let me not wallow in the fact that I didn't have a plan and I couldn't do anything progressive. But deep down, I knew what I'm doing isn't helping me and isn't going to help me and isn't going to teach me anything. And as we were told in grade 7 camp, whenever you're lost and you don't know if you're going around in circles, what you need is a map and the compass. And luckily for me, I knew exactly what the map and the compass were in this scenario. As with most people my age, whenever you're in trouble and you have a question that needs answering and you have no idea where to get the answer for, there's a certain dynamic duo that you can always put your faith in and rely on to always be there for you in your moment of need, to give you exactly the sort of answer you desperately need. And that dynamic duo is Google and YouTube. And with me, they shared all their wisdom No blog post was left unread. No YouTube video was left unwatched. All that knowledge and occasional advertisements filled my mind to the brim in order to give me a new perspective and a new list on what I should be doing. And all it took was about 1.5 weeks of diligent reading and watching. To sum it all up, because we're not gonna make this another 30-minute video, and most probably I'm gonna make another video specifically on this, the list I pretty much got from all my research on how I should be tackling real estate, especially regarding how I should be finding leads and perspectives. The list was as follows. Obviously, number 1, your inner circle. Number 2, door knocking and cold calling. Number 3, networking. Number 4, paid advertising. And number 5, open houses. As I said before, to keep this well under 30 minutes, I'm not going to go over all of these, but what you should know, what piqued my interest was networking and open houses. And what piqued my interest the most was the open house route. And I'm just going to quickly run over why that is. You see, if we were to say door knocking was the commando strategy of real estate, going in like Rambo, knocking down doors, getting people to just know your name immediately and get straight to the point and to the action, open houses are pretty much the sneaky ninjas of getting your name out there. You see, on the one side, you never do an open house specifically to get your name out there, but on the other side, an open house is exactly the perfect place to get your name out there. When agents typically think of open houses, they're picturing sacrificing a weekend, going and laying down on a couch, waiting for people to come in, asking if they need your help. And we all know what happens when a salesman comes to you and asks if you need help. You say no. And so you let them scour the house alone and look at what they want to look at while you're busy there on the couch eating the cookies you bought yourself. But if you're smart, not gonna say anything, an open house is exactly the best place for you to get your name out there. Open houses are pretty much reverse door knocking. Instead of you having to go out there and knock on each door to find a client, the clients are coming to you. And more importantly, the clients who are specifically looking for a house or specifically looking for something related to real estate are the ones knocking on your door to come to you. It appears the shoe is on the other foot, Mr. Smith. So this was exactly the strategy I needed. And I'm definitely gonna do a rundown list of these strategies, rank them, evaluate them, see what's the best, see what I'll be trying. So stay tuned. So I brought up the desire to want to run an open house. Oh, side note, the other good thing about open houses, most real estate agents don't like to do them. So if you're willing to do it on behalf of another agent, they're probably going to agree. You're helping them sell the house. That's where the big commission is. You're here to just try and get your name out there, which I'm prepared to do. So come to me again. When I brought it up, both my boss and my supervisor were pretty much all on board, but they told me to take about 3 weeks to get in order. Because in the same way, there's nothing more bolstering like a well-run open house. Many people come, they love the property you're putting on offer, they make many offers to buy it. There is nothing worse than an open house where no one comes. It is absolutely demoralizing for both you and the landlord. So you want to make sure you get it all sorted, you get your advertising ready, you learn to bake the best brownies or cookies that you can, which I can do right now. And you pretty much give your property the best chance to both get sold and also introduce you to as many clients as possible. So after crunching all the numbers, doing all the work, doing all my due diligence, I thought I was pretty much ready to run an open house. It was going to be my first time, so I pretty much just had to take the plunge and learn as I go. I wonder where I learned that, and where I also had to apply that. And do you know what happened after that? 2020 happened. Lockdown, 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 lockdown. You can't move, you can't go anywhere, you can't do nothing. You definitely can't go into other people's houses. You definitely can't invite other people into other people's houses, or else you're gonna give them that thing that gets you demonetized even when you're not monetized at all. I won't lie. At this point, I was pretty much certain this could have been divine intervention, and I wasn't going to be out here waiting for water to start turning into blood and locusts to start flying in order to realize that real estate just might not be for me. Is what I would say, but I'm pretty much incredibly stubborn. You could say, boy-headed. So I stuck with it. back at the bottom of the mountain, no compass, no map, no plan. That was literally what I did as soon as the lockdown happened. It was, man, what do you do? I was fed up. First strategy was made illegal. Second strategy could leave me 6 feet under. But I guess the third time's the charm. What else could I do? Honestly, at this point, it really wasn't that bad. I think I'd gotten so used to things just going badly that at this point in time, it was pretty much a hurdle on the road instead of some huge, massive roadblock brigade in front of me. It was something I was mentally prepared to handle at this point. It wasn't going to be like the last time where I'd wallow and be depressed and not know what to do. I mentally had the preparedness to just say, listen, latch onto something and just run with it. Don't worry about anything else, just get moving. And for me, the easiest thing to latch onto was really building up my online presence. I'm locked in my home for really who knows how long, and I have nothing better to do that I can put into real estate. So this was really the best time to do it. Though at the same time, I was self-aware enough that I'm not yet properly confident in my writing. I could just as quickly slip off and stop doing it, even though I knew this is something I need to build up. So I came up with my own 330-300 rule, which I'll cover somewhere below. But basically this held me accountable to at least finding 3 strategies to do at least for 30 repetitions within 300 days. And so I got to writing. And because I had nothing else to devote my time to, I literally started to see improvements week in, week out, day in, day out. From writing 2 to 3 posts a week, to writing 4 to 5, to writing 6, to writing 7. Literally, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, at that point when I was blog writing, it wasn't rare for you to wake up, go to bed, and continuously see a cycle of me just advertising the post I'd written. Not all of them were good. A few of them I actually hated. But I literally just said, just push it out. You can improve as you go along, which has now become my philosophy for everything I'm doing now. That I'd rather just push it out, learn from my mistakes, build on top of the corpses of my terrible posts, and eventually get to a point where I'm confident and competent about what I'm pushing out. And initially, I managed to push out 30 pieces of content over all things real estate. I was talking about houses, strategies, financial things, just trying to understand what do I like, what can I write, how can I improve, what can't I improve on, what do I like to do? What don't I like to do? I managed within the space of 2.5 months to push out 52 posts. Yes, thank you. I'm very proud of myself. But I also knew the job wasn't done. At this point, 2.5 months in, I realized I could do this. If I could write 52 posts, I could write 520, I could write 5,000. I was at a point where I knew I could do this day in, day out, or whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to write every day, but I knew I was confident enough in what I'm pushing out that I couldn't be stopped. But at the same time, I knew this was half the puzzle of my social media presence. I knew I needed to get on YouTube, because even though I called my expectations for how my blog would push, knowing that, listen, it probably takes about a year until you can get proper traction on your blog, you shouldn't neglect YouTube, because most people, I'm not pointing fingers, prefer to watch content instead of read. We've just naturally moved towards a more visual representation of education. It was an easy decision in theory because I knew this was what I had to do, but switching over from something I had just become confident in to something that was completely foreign and alien and uncomfortable for me took some time. My first YouTube video took me about 2.5 weeks to get out there, to record, to edit, to get comfortable with my own voice and all that. Second one took about a week. This one's taking about a week as well. But even though you can't easily transfer what I learned from blogging to YouTube, that 330-300 rule still applied. And now it had some foundation and backing up that, listen, you were terrible in your blogging at the beginning, you learned, you improved, and you're at a stage where you feel like you could do this every single day if you had to. You're gonna have that with YouTube as well. It might be slower because from the onset, it takes much longer to record, edit, and publish a YouTube video than it does to write down, edit, and publish a blog post. But I knew that, listen, if I stick with this, no matter how many times I don't want to, I can get through this, which is what I'm trying to do at the moment. And currently, moving past this short introduction series, I'm going to be going through that experimental stage as well, which I went through with blog writing, where I just need to discover what do I like to do, what don't I like to do, how do I improve, how do I get better, how do I get faster. And currently, all I can say about this YouTube channel is that I don't expect it to be strictly a real estate YouTube channel. Because listen, I have approximately this much experience, so I don't know if I have the right to be teaching people anything about real estate, since I'm just learning as well. So pretty much you can expect it to be more of a tag along ride with me, where you come with me, you see what I'm doing, you see how I'm learning, you see the mistakes I'm making and how I'm trying to fix those in order to get up that mountain. So we're done. And it only took 3 parts of a total of about more than an hour to just give you an introduction into how I got into real estate. So as you can probably guess, I'm gonna have a lot to talk about down the line. And I hope to see you there. Give me advice, give me tips, read every comment. Currently, I comment to every comment. It's going to be one big adventure, and salute. Peace. I'll see you next time. And also, shout out to my niece, baby Tassie, born this week. I'm an uncle. This video is for you, and hopefully, maybe you might feature down the line. Family, maybe if I'm still doing this, I probably will be. So I'll see you then. Peace.